What is up, guys? Welcome into yet another edition of Benstant Reaction, a spinoff of the Ben Garcia Show where we react to a game, breaking news, whether it's the NBA, the NFL, whatever it is going on in the sports world. Today we are reacting to a game, the Arizona Cardinals going up against the Los Angeles Rams in a Week 17 matchup that would normally be the last week of the season a few years ago is now the second to last week of the season. So the Arizona Cardinals lose to the Los Angeles Rams 13-9, a rare screw up there saying the St. Louis Rams. But before we dive really deep into it, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about the Ben Garcia Show. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. It is the same at everywhere: Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, I'm pretty sure, YouTube, at Ben Garcia Show. You can find me there, and hope to interact with you guys on there as well. Definitely say hello. I will always respond back to you. As well as, you can follow me as well, Locked On Phoenix Suns. I cover the Phoenix Suns there as well. But with all that being said, let's dive real deep into the nitty-gritty of this Cardinals-Los Angeles Rams game. You know, there are always things I like to hit on, especially when you pay a quarterback $45 million a year. I am always going to talk the quarterback. I'm not always going to talk the quarterback if my quarterback's Aiden O'Connell or Desmond Ridder or Drew Lock or whoever it is, right? I'm always going to talk about the guy that gets paid the big bucks, and that being in one Kyler Murray. If you look at the statistics tonight, it is a spotty night for Kyler if you just look at the statistics. But I got to be honest, as much as I've been hypercritical of Kyler Murray over the past 6 weeks, 7 weeks, I got to be fair. Kyler, I thought, played well tonight. I thought he played fine. He was 33 for 48, 321 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. One of those picks was absolutely not his fault. And you can even argue that second pick to Marvin Harrison Jr., he's making a play downfield. Marv mistimes it. You can't put that all on Kyler, but still not a great decision downfield. But I got to be fair. I thought Kyler played fairly well tonight, given the fact that he didn't have all of his weapons. James Conner's out. Michael Wilson's running out of bounds. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still a rookie. Trey McBride surpassed 1,000 yards tonight. He didn't have all of his weapons, and I thought Kyler played well. I thought he played fine tonight. Here's the issue. Kyler, again, could have thrown for 500 yards tonight. 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Although I think Kyler Murray played well tonight, although I think he spread the ball around very well to his receivers, executed the playbook fairly well for whatever Drew Petzing asks of him, and we'll get to Petzing in just a minute, I thought Kyler played well. All things considered, 321 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, one not really his fault, the other one a little iffy. I thought Kyler was effective tonight. Here's the caveat to that. I don't care. I simply don't care. These games don't matter. Ultimately, I don't care that they lost. Ultimately, I think it's fine that they lost. Get a better draft pick. Potentially lose next week. Fall to 7-10. I am not of the belief that if you go 9-8, everything is hunky-dory, and you can sell the Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., the guys that have beaten themselves against the wall all year long, that 9-8, missed the playoffs, but darn it, are we doing well? I have eyes. I've watched the games. The offense still looks abysmal. But tonight wasn't about Kyler. You know, I'm looking at the microscope, and I got to be honest with you, some of the microscope was kind of pulled off a little bit because with Kyler, the game just doesn't matter. He can't do anything to win me back more or lose me further because this game doesn't matter. They're playing a meaningless football game in December, and that is not where we wanted to be. They're playing a meaningless football game late in December, and that is not where we wanted to be in August, in September, in October. So, cool. 321 yards, a touchdown. I thought he played fairly effectively today. Rushed the ball 4 times for 32 yards. That's cool. You were never going to win me over or lose me any further because these games don't matter. Yes, the Rams were trying, but honestly, it just doesn't synchronize with me as much as it does with someone else. Maybe you're looking for confirmation that Kyler isn't the guy and you're pointing to the 2 interceptions, or you're looking for confirmation that he is the guy and you're looking at the touchdown and the 322 yards. I am firmly in the middle. I am Switzerland. It doesn't matter because this game didn't matter. What matters is I saw Kyler the past 7 weeks when it did matter, the past 6 weeks when it did matter, and he wasn't good enough. Too many interceptions, too many turnovers, too many when the team asked him to carry them. When the team asked Kyler to carry them, he did not answer the bell. So Kyler cannot add to his stock in Phoenix, at least to me, or add to his stock in Arizona, at least to me, or to the fans of the Cardinals, in my opinion, until next year. And then we'll see what happens. They put some more money into this offense. They put some more money into this defense. They get some things figured out. Maybe they fire Drew Petzing, but that is really the only way the needle can move for me. The only way Kyler is ever going to shake the demons that he has here in Arizona, or the critics that go after him, is playing games that matter and winning those games late in the season. We know what he can do in week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. What can you do week 10? What can you do week 15? In games that matter when the playoffs are on the line. That's what we need to see from Kyler. A week 16, a week 17 game against the Los Angeles Rams was not changing my opinion of Kyler either way. Now let's get to what was really bad about the offense, because they scored 9 points today. I thought, just regurgitating what I just said, Kyler Murray played well. But he played well for what Drew Petzing asked of him. I know I'm beating a dead horse with this. You cannot be so conservative. And I tweeted something out and it got a decent amount of attraction on social media, on Twitter. And it was, Drew Petzing must feel really good about his job security, because there was no sense of urgency tonight. There was no sense of throwing the ball downfield tonight. Drew Petzing still led a dink and dunk offense. It was anemic. It was tough to watch. It was a lot of bubble screens and drag routes, and it was not creative at all. I get so jealous when I see a guy like Ben Johnson, or a hot offensive coordinator, a hot offensive mind around the NFL, dialing things up. It makes me jealous when I see Kyle Shanahan or Matt LaFleur or Ben Johnson drawing up these creative plays to make his offense look better, to elevate their offense. And then I watch Drew Petzing, and it's nothing but dink and dunk underneath stuff to James Conner and Trey McBride. The biggest indictment, and I'll say it again, the biggest indictment of Drew Petzing is that when James Conner is out, this offense looks like they've never played football before. That cannot be the case. James Conner is a good running back. He ain't that good. He ain't that good to the point where the Cardinals shouldn't look like a middle school offense if he's not in the game. And I think that's been the biggest blemish of Drew Petzing so far. We've had issues with him early in the season, middle of the season, but the pants were caught at his ankles this time. When James Conner is in there, who is probably a top 10 running back in the NFL, but he isn't Christian McCaffrey or Adrian Peterson in their prime. When he's out, the offense looks like a middle school offense. It looks like they've never played before. And that's an indictment on Drew Petzing, who has been nothing but a dink and dunk running back merchant pretty much his entire time as the offensive coordinator as the Arizona Cardinals. And we can't do that anymore. Change has got to be made. Someone's got to fall on the sword for how bad this season has ended from where it was at 6-4 after week 10, and it has to be Drew Petzing. I mean, we need to get answers on guys like Kyler. We need to get answers on this offense, and Drew Petzing is not the guy to give us those answers. We got to shake it up again. It is too conservative with too many good weapons. There is not a lack of weapons on this team to where it looks this anemic, this bad. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think Michael Wilson's a good number 3. Greg Dortch, Trey McBride. You have to be able to look better than you look tonight without your star running back. But this team doesn't have James Conner, and they completely collapse. That is an indictment on Drew Petzing for not having a second pitch outside of his fastball. Once you took that away, he was not able to strike out any defenses. And that is an indictment on Petzing, and he has to fall on the sword for the late season collapse that has happened this year. Let's get lastly into the defense really quickly. Well, I guess not super quickly. We got all night, I guess, if we really want to. But the defense is what it is. The defense kind of goes hand in hand with Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, I think, is a leader. I think the players really like him. I think Kyler really likes him. And I know that Jonathan Gannon can coach because his ability to do more with less defensively cannot be understated. This defense is awful. Like, it is awful. There is one star on this defense, that's Budda Baker, and even he has some issues covering guys in the passing game. But this defense is awful. So Jonathan Gannon has shown to us he can coach because of what he's done with this defense. Tonight, if I'm not mistaken, under 300 yards of total offense for this Rams team, as I'm looking at it just really quickly off the cuff. 68 yards rushing, 189 yards passing. I mean, if I'm doing my math there just quickly, it doesn't look like that's whatever. It's right around 300 yards or just under 300 yards. Obviously not a mathematician over here. Holding the Rams to 13 points with guys like Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams. They're at full strength and they're at home. Holding them to 13 points and under 300 yards of total offense is how you know Jonathan Gannon can coach. Because his side of the ball is always correct. But going back to the offensive side, Jonathan Gannon cannot turn a blind eye to how awful it has been. There needs to be judgment on that offense. And that's where we will see if Jonathan Gannon's leadership can stand that test. We know Gannon can coach. We know what he can do defensively. He has gotten more out of less. And they have kept this offense in games. It is why I have not went after the defense a lot this year. It's not why I didn't blame the defense last week for losing to the Panthers. Because the defense has kept you in ball games all year long. The offense was the one not holding up their end of the bargain. What I'm curious to see about Jonathan Gannon is not can he coach? I know he can. This defense is doing better than what it was projected to do by a lot with virtually no stars outside of Budda Baker. It's not that. It's does he have the humility to say, I made a mistake offensively and cut Drew Petzing out? That's what I need to see from Jonathan Gannon. Outside of that, this defense is, I mean, it is what it is. It's going to get better in the offseason, another draft, and you have a lot of money. You are able to throw some money at that problem, although remember, free agency is kind of fool's gold. You don't always get the best players just because you paid someone a lot of money. That's not how it works. So overall, I thought it was kind of a perfect loss. I thought Kyler Murray played well for what he was asked to do. I think because you lost and only scored 9 points, that's going to be an indictment on Drew Petzing, and it gets him closer to being fired. You saw the defense continue to step up. You saw Jonathan Gannon's ability to bounce back this defense against a very good offense in the Rams, who had under 300 yards and who had 13 points tonight at home. I thought it was kind of the perfect storm. I thought it was. And I'm not going to harp on much more than that. Overall, this game did not matter. So I can't have a strong opinion either way and go after some guys. I'm not going to indict Kyler Murray even better or even worse because he didn't play well enough to beat a Rams team when I was kind of rooting for this team to lose, because I don't believe in the idea of getting 9-8 and saying, well, listen, man, we're 9-8. That's better than we were last year. I saw the offense, man. It collapsed. 6-4 is different. Please save me the argument that because the Cardinals are better statistically and record-wise than they were last year, that this season is a success. You were 6-4 through 10 weeks. You were 6-4 through the bye week. You were leading your division. Hold your team to a higher standard. This was a failure. This was a collapse, an utter second half collapse. Don't try to find half wins in this because you were better than you were last year. It also matters how you lose. Expectations change as the season goes along. Sure, at the beginning of the year, if you would have said that to me and I said, okay. But if you'd also told me, hey, you're going to finish with 7 or 8 wins, but at the bye week, you were going to be 6-4 and leading your division, you're going to say, wait a second, so we collapsed? How you lose matters. How you finish seasons matter. And that's what happened with the Cardinals this year. So save me the argument. Save me the argument that just because statistically and record-wise they're better than they were last year, and that means I should be happy. No, I'm going to hold my team to a higher standard. You were 6-4 through 10 weeks. You were leading your division. You controlled your destiny and had room for error, and you squandered all of it. It's a failure. It's a collapse, and it's why we're asking questions of not just Kyler, but of the head coach, of the GM, of the offensive coordinator, and of this rebuild as a whole, and why it's going backwards. Hold your team to a higher standard. That's what happens. Overall, the Rams beat the Cardinals 13-9. It's kind of different to be able to talk to you guys on a Saturday night. I'll get this out to you guys as soon as I can tonight. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. This has been the Ben Garcia Show. I will talk to you guys maybe Monday, Tuesday of next week. But overall, we got one more preview for the Cardinals, one more post game, and then, of course, I'll do a lot of coverage on the Cardinals in the offseason as well. So appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about the Ben Garcia Show. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And until next time, I'm Benjamin Garcia. It's been the Ben Garcia Show.